Mike, and give me 1 second. Ready to go.
Who's missing?
Okay, should be good to go.
All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Town Pools Project Building Committee special meeting on January 24th. The time now is 6:30. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Can we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Got it. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
First, make sure these are all in the right place. Johnny, we passed that
Oh,
down.
it's February, I'm sorry. February 24th, not January 24th. Okay, can you just please state your name for the roll call? We'll start with you, Adrian.
Well, why don't I'll take roll
Okay,
call.
okay, go ahead.
Okay, Councilor Tiniakis.
Here.
Mr.
Parati.
Parati.
Here.
Miss Francolini.
Francolino, yes.
Francolino, excuse me, apologies. Miss Conway.
Here.
Miss Anest.
Here.
Mr. Donahue. Here. Mr. Mankey.
Here.
Okay, everybody's here.
Okay. Anybody's had the chance to review the minutes of the last meeting? Can somebody make a motion to approve the minutes, please?
Make a move.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Public participation. Anybody want to participate? Please come up, state your name and address. Oh, I don't have the clock.
I'm not gonna talk long.
Okay, good. I don't have the clock.
Am I on? Yes, hello. Hi, Bill McCarthy, 206 Churchill Drive. Just want to say I'm looking forward to working with you guys towards a resolution to our pool situation. I was looking at the draft RFP and I was just concerned that it might be a little bit too focused to an outcome. I would prefer, I don't know the wordings of RFPs or anything like that, but I would prefer more of a la carte type approach to the pool situation. We don't have to have everything to move forward. We don't necessarily need the splash pads. We definitely need the pools. We definitely need the pool houses. And my opinion is that the footprints where they are right now is good. And it should be what we sort of aim for or long-term or whatever like that. So again, thank you, everybody. Thanks for posting on Facebook that the meeting was happening. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Eileen, there's two people on Zoom. There's Richie from CT.
Okay, yeah, I don't have my clock, so.
Oh, okay, yeah,
you
so
have to-
Richie from CT. Oh, I have to unmute you. Give me a second, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Richie, are you there? You're next, please.
wait,
State your name and address.
Now,
Yes.
you know, it's-
Okay, there we go.
Hi, Richie here. Richard William Laverier, 3 Winterbury Court, Newington, Connecticut, USA. I want to say this about the pool project, that there's been a lot of, in my opinion, overreach. And what we can do is focus it. We can focus this. We have a previous project that was a couple of years ago that wanted to have the Mill Pond be the focal point of the project. I don't agree with that. I think that it should be over at Churchill, okay? And we can move the project about 20, 30 feet in on the baseball field, and we can have a beautiful driving path, so that there won't be any risk of people having any kind of risk of people getting hit by cars moving in. But I think that over the long haul, we need to move this project over towards Churchill and having it become focused on Mill Pond is both an environmental problem and a danger, both an environmental problem and a danger. And we can stop this. We can make the project over at Mill Pond become a green space that doesn't have an impact on any kind of impact that would have any problem as it would relate to our excuse me, as it would not have any problem as it would relate to the environmental jewel that is Mill Pond. We have a pool that is a problem, but we don't need to keep funding a problematic. We don't need to keep funding a problematic situation. We can sunset it, and we can move it towards. Churchill. Spend crazy over at Churchill, and you won't have a problem. Move it over towards parking lot side. Oh, God bless you. We can move it over towards the parking lot side, about 20 or 30 feet. Then you could have the drive around. We already have a weird drive around at Churchill anyway. Nobody parks there. Move it around there, and then sunset over 4 or 5 years. Okay, sunset over 4 or 5 years, and you have a nice superplex at Churchill. And hey, if you have an overflow, you can move it towards the high school. We have 3 pools in this town. Everybody forgets about that one. My opinion, long run, it's an environmental problem to keep Mill Pond as it is. Long run, 5 years from now, sunset it. Have it be a great project. Over at Churchill, and have it be a reasonable project at the high school. Everybody forgets that we have the 3rd pool over at the high school. Mill Pond is a mess. I say sunset over 5 years.
Thank you very much.
Ms. Havens, let me unmute you. Ms. Havens, you there?
I am. I have to unmute on this side too, so you got to give us a second to hit that button. I'm calling. I am concerned about some of the wording in that draft, just as Bill is, but I'll let you guys work on that before I comment. And I also hope to see, I know I mentioned it at the last meeting, but I'm going to mention it again. I'd like to see some discussion about bringing in that aquatics firm back in that did the study for keeping the pool in place so that you can question them more about their findings. And that's it.
Okay, thank you.
Miss Lyons is ready.
Good evening, Rose. You there? Hello?
Let's see, try one more time. Rose, you there now? No?
I guess I hit *6 too quickly. Rose Lyons, 46 Alton Drive. I really don't have anything to say other than thank you to whoever put the RFP as an attachment to the agenda. I found the last meeting, it was very hard to follow along the discussions amongst the members of the committee because we didn't have the paperwork in front of us. So thank you for putting that on there, and I hope you continue to do so. That's it. for now.
Thank you. Anybody else in the audience want to get up and speak? Going once, going twice. Okay. Thank you. All right. Moving on to old business, we're going to take a look at the RFP that was put together by a couple people, town officials. Did everybody have a chance? Yes,
I usually have comments on public participation,
I'm sorry, it was not on the agenda. That's
not on the agenda, so
Yeah.
I just had a comment. I too would like to see the report from the aquatic design that Ms. Havens talked about. I wasn't on the first full committee, thank God.
That's what you're saying?
No, this is the one, this is the current report.
He's talking about one from like 2000.
The aquatic design was the one before this one
Oh,
that I
okay.
don't have. I read this one.
Okay,
I
sorry.
spent,
So it's from
I
what?
spent the morning reading this one, which is informative.
yeah.
But
Forgive me, that report, Tim, is from what timeframe?
it was the first one, I think,
It's 2012 to 2013.
right.
Oh, okay, really?
Right, way back one.
Okay.
It was alluded to in some of the Facebook conversations, and I think that's what Ms. Havens is referring to. I think the committee should look at that one. That's the one that said the pool could stay where it is. And to either dispel or prove that right or wrong, we should look at that report. At least the committee should look at that report. I think
That might explain some of what's written in here that I didn't understand. Yeah, okay.
so. I think we
get
should
that.
we should all look at that report and if possible, even have a presentation by those people to come in. If that's out there, we should to just ignore it. I think is
I would think that
Wouldn't-
with a decade of time passing, they probably wouldn't
Exactly.
stand by what they
Yeah,
or would never.
they
do.
might
They'd
not,
probably
but
redo what they were
but just to ignore, I think that puts in the public's mind the idea that we're just ignoring something that was already done, and I think that's what part of
The word ignore is a
part of
good
the
word to
disconnect.
use.
I'm not saying, but the part of the disconnect of the public who then
yeah. I
voted
thought,
against the referendum. It's out there, but it was not brought up, and
No, that, I
So-
agree.
I agree with what you're saying, but I thought the purpose of our reconvening was to start from the ground up and work from square one.
Like you have nothing.
And
You-
like
you-
we have nothing and start over again, fresh start. If that's there,
right.
we could look at it. That's great. I don't have a problem with it, but I think that our conclusions and ideas should be based on current evidence and a fresh look. a
Okay, well, then
fresh
I'll get to that later on when we talk about the RFP, because
Yes,
the
there's.
RFP, the whole section here says we're gonna take what we already have and just say, the rubber stamp and say that's
Agreed.
that's the
agreed.
fact, and we're gonna go ahead with that. And
Yeah.
that's, so you can't have it one way and not the other way.
Yep, I understand. My own, after reviewing the RFP, the first thing that stuck out in my mind was the rooftop garden. That was not part of our original plan. And when we look at this, it says, this is what we were looking for before, and it says part of it was a rooftop garden. I understand that, Mr. DeMayo found that to be an interesting add-on, but at this point, I don't see the point of adding anything into the plan when people didn't want to pay for what we had originally. So I would like to see that stricken and maybe added in a later date if we have some money. And the other question that I had about this, because I'm very new and green at all of this.
Are we moved on to old business?
Yes, we are.
Okay.
Yeah. Um,
Gee, John.
if we are to repeat the borings, how does the engineer or the architect come up with a plan without having them done first? That's my first question. I don't know how that works. Does anybody know how that goes forward?
If going back in my memory, I mean, we did the borings based on what we had. If we need to come in and do new borings, I don't know that the water table has changed,
Mhm.
right? So I mean, that's a separate engineering report, so they could
Correct.
probably use that as something, and they may come back and say, hey, we need some more data.
Mhm.
Okay,
Mhm.
well, that's fine. But I think as a starting point, they could use that.
Just use the old.
Yeah.
Just use the old temporarily, and if they need more data, or if we feel they need more data, we can ask for it.
Mhm. The other thing I was confused about was that the engineering report is dated April 8th, 2021, and it says that TLB completed the site plans for Plan D on December of 2020, which was before the borings were done. So I don't know how that happened. Perhaps that's in that other report that Ms. Lyons and Tim, you were both looking for. Maybe that's where that information is. I don't know. I just found the dates a little questionable. I don't know how that happens.
Once again, going back in history, the
Mhm.
plan was presented to the original pool committee that I was on.
Yes,
And then the questions came up about, you know, how do you know that's the best place for a pool? So the plan is from the pool plan with the splash pad and everything is back from when it was originally proposed to build.
are
And
we
then,
talking the 2012?
no, 2021,
Okay,
right? We came into the pool committee and they said, this is what we want to build. And
who's they?
Parks and Rec.
Oh,
It
okay,
was a perk, yeah.
Right, and and then, you know, we had a conversation about, well, it's not a pool committee then, it's just an approval committee, and
Right.
then we had, Carol and I were there.
Yeah.
And then, right, and then we said, okay, we need to see all of the data, don't just come to us and say, this is what we want to build.
Mhm.
If we're a committee, we need to see the data.
Mhm.
And that's when, you know, a couple steps down the road, we said, well, Bill said, this is the best place to build a pool. I said, well, how do we know that? So then when they did the
That's when we
borings,
started doing the borings.
right? And then the architect had also said, and I think you can back up, it says you can build a pool anywhere. It just depends on how much money you want to spend.
Right.
So that to us was like, okay, well, it could stay in the same spot. Just how much money is it gonna cost? So,
You have to downsize the project.
right, that kind of thing. So the original plan was TLB working with Park and Rec. Then it came to us and then we started requesting data
Mhm.
for our knowledge. Say, how are we gonna do this?
Alan, do you remember? You were in Parks and Rec.
Yeah.
Do you remember?
I remember seeing the drawings, but I couldn't
Was
recall
there a referral from Parks and Rec, discussions at Parks and Rec?
about what the pool is gonna look like. No, we just got a drawing. Pretty much, that's all I remember. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
That's cool, maybe that's
Bill has a plan of the ultimate park,
Yes,
right? And
I
the
remember
pool is
seeing
part
that.
of it, right?
Yeah, and I remember seeing an ultimate plan for Churchill as well.
But it came from Parks and Rec,
That's how it was
The board.
presented.
the board, not. from
I didn't,
depart- not the Department. but-
right, I don't know, yeah, I don't know, didn't make that distinction, but
Yeah.
it could have been.
Okay, the other thing that I had a question on, it says in the report that water levels at the time of construction or after may differ from those levels shown by the test borings and observation wells. How much do they differ?
Okay, I'm sorry. Can you, when you're talking about the RFP, can you say what page you're, like, I know there's
Oh,
not
man, I
numbers,
didn't
but
write down pages, I just,
like, can you just sort of say what section you're talking about? so I
Yeah.
can follow?
something about oh boy.
The water tables?
The water levels at the time of construction. Let's see.
What did I just saw? It has to be in the very beginning.
So is this 2A? The town contracted with an engineering firm to conduct a hydrogeological study in Mill Pond Park, which found that the location of the current pool has a high water table and therefore is not appropriate for a new pool. However, the
No,
town requests the study be reviewed for accuracy and the consultant take any additional steps to evaluate the hydrogeology of any possible pool location.
The hydrology is, yes,
Mhm.
I believe that's where it would be. I can't see anything else that speaks specifically,
Yeah.
right? I mean, the borings could, if you did a boring in the middle of July, it's gonna certainly be different after, after all this snow melts,
yeah,
right? So that's where they're taking it as a point in time.
right,
Were you looking in the report?
yeah,
So not the RFP?
correct.
No, they
Uh,
are paid.
That sounds like it would
Yeah,
be in the
that's
The
report.
report, we are,
Yeah.
the report's
We're talking about the
report.
RFP right now.
I thought we were looking at the RFP.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I think I moved ahead of things.
Tim has a question.
I have a question. I guess I'm confused about this whole process here. I thought we were supposed to be looking at the condition of both pools. And nowhere in here does it say we're going to look at the condition of both pools, because I think one of the thing I heard in November was they think we should look at the condition of both pools, and the public thinks that, right or wrong, that the pools can be repaired, and nowhere did the committee present a proposal to repair the pools. This automatically assumes, and we're going down that path, that we're gonna build a brand new pool, and it looks like we're building a brand new pool at Mill Pond again. Because Mill Pond seems to be the focus of this whole RFP. And I think if we go down to that route again, we're just going down the same path, and we may say we're starting over again, but we're not. Number two is the whole old proposal, just in a little nutshell, saying just rubber stamp what we did before, and we're gonna go ahead and do that whole thing again, and the new firm's gonna come and say, yep, okay, everything's fine, you're not gonna sell this to the public again. We're gonna have the same problems trying to sell this again to the same public. I think someplace we need to look at the condition of Churchill and Mill and look at the condition of those pools before we go ahead of talking about building a new pool and where we're gonna build a pool and borings and all that stuff. I think we need to look at the condition of both of those pools.
Anybody want to comment on that?
I agree
I agree.
with that too. I mean, I think like under like scope number 2, we should probably either redo A or, push it down and then add another option just to encompass that we're looking at both parks and then the general tone of it does come off as if it's like a full replacement, like location and everything like that. So we could probably pull it back a little bit and just ask for a vague analysis of what our current pools are doing, their future lifespan, and then whatever they recommend, whether it be repair it in the same location if it's possible or move it, but probably widen the scope a little bit and have less tunnel vision. Would probably not be a bad idea.
Well, yeah, I mean, 2A could say, whatever that word is, in Mill Pond Park and Churchill. I mean, right now Churchill may be the most beautiful place in the world to build a pool, but we don't know. I thought it was 15, 20 years ago. That was the place to build a pool with the lazy river and
Yes,
all that stuff. So,
Yeah.
Well, and let's be realistic. If we were told during the referendum by one side that you can't build it where the pool is currently, and now the voters say they don't want to build it on Garfield Street, there is no other place really to build a pool at Mill Pond. So theoretically, unless we put it in, I don't know where, a pool's not going to go at Mill Pond unless we find a different solution, because the voters said they don't want it on Garfield Street. And if this committee wants to put it on Garfield Street, they won't have my vote to do that. So and they probably won't have the people's on the streets vote. Maybe. So where are we going to put it? So we better look at another solution, because we've kind of boxed ourselves into a corner.
Do you think it was Garfield Street or $11 million?
I think it was both, but Garfield Street's a big part of it.
Mhm. And what's in the pipeline for redevelopment of Garfield Street? I know there was some grant money.
This summer, the work will go out to bid shortly for construction this summer.
And what's the plan going to look like? Is it going to be widened or?
Well, there'll be one of those. There's 5 components to it. There's adding the EV charging stations in the sort of along Garfield Street in that parking lot, sort of for the library. There would be adding one of those pedestrian flashing, like crosswalk, pedestrian crossing, flashing things, and the crosswalk would be enhanced somehow. I'm not exactly sure, but probably, brighter, probably some curb work around it as well for safety. But also as part of it, subject to council approval, there's talk of, paving over the school bus parking lot would be part of that, could be part of that, again, depending on how the budget season goes. And there's those kinds of improvements. So it's a connection grant or connectivity grant is paying for the pedestrian improvements. And we've had that grant for like 6 years.
Yeah.
But
So-
it's nothing to do with like widening the road.
But it
No,
doesn't solve the parking issue for the pool. The parking will be on one side of Garfield and the pool will be on the other side of Garfield.
Now,
That's
The bus parking lot doesn't belong to Parks and Rec though, correct?
It doesn't, well, it's the school, it's the Board of Education's, property.
So
I mean,
is
This is-
that,
yeah.
is the, would the plan be to like move the buses over to the high school and have that parking available? Is that?
there's no plan right now.
Okay.
There's a proposal from the Board of Education to pave that lot
Yeah,
because the current condition of the lot is
correct.
with the gravel is causing damage to the undercarriage of the buses, which is shortening the life expectancy of the buses.
Yeah.
What council will do with it, it's an expensive project. What council will do with it is to be determined over the next couple of months.
Gotcha. Okay.
But you will, I mean, I think the bottom line is, as far as pedestrian improvements along Garfield Street, that will happen this summer.
Mhm.
That will happen this summer.
Back in the day too, my son is 35. His first job was working as a crossing guard there. And he worked as a crossing guard and, made sure everybody stayed on the side and put up his little thing and, which I think back then the traffic wasn't as busy as it is now. So that's something that could be considered as an addition to, regardless of whether we get this pool in or not, a crossing guard would be a great thing. Okay, and any questions? We're good? You got any questions?
I have some things, but
Yeah,
it was
go ahead.
more, similar to what was said. I don't think the RFP has enough about Churchill in it.
Mhm.
And even some like the background, it says this is page 2, I guess, like Mill Pond is heavily used for swim lessons by children. The summer camps use Churchill Pool for swim lessons as well. So I just don't want that omitted. I don't know how many, the number total, but the Park and Rec program, they do swim lessons for summer camp there.
Yep.
And then just some of the other things, I don't know, I don't want to focus ourselves too much, but I want an expert to come in and say where they think the pool should be. And current location, Garfield Street isn't the top of my priority list right now. If they say that's the best spot because of X, Y, Z, and they give a variety of reasons, I can listen to that. But it's like throughout the whole park, the current location is the only spot we can do it. That's what they say, then, I can get behind it, I guess, but I would like to see more information if that's the only spot versus, I know we talked about Garfield Street by the playground. Park is pretty big, I know, I don't want to even say it because we talk about the soccer fields. No one wants to talk about that area at all. If we're opening it up for everything, I think we have to open up for everything. If somebody says this spot here on the soccer field is the best spot, we have to consider what that means. There is a parking lot over there. That's a gravel parking lot that would be right on the road. So I don't want to focus ourselves to say, we just want it this way exactly. We either want it at Garfield or we want it where it is. I want to open it up to everything for Mill Pond. And then I also just would want more on Churchill. I don't think there's another location at Churchill that I know of that anyone has mentioned, but it's the current location. What can we do to enhance that? Because the parking, there's a lot of things we can do there, I think, to make it better. So I don't want to focus ourselves and say, we want this, we want it the way it is, or we want it completely different. Like, we have people that we're going to go out to bid for that do this for a living. What do you think? Because I want to see, and I like that it says, 3 proposals or something like that. Like, I would love to see a couple different options because I don't want to just say we have one option and that's it. Like, I don't want to have 1,000 options and I don't want them to come back. You mentioned like, it was like the $11.6 million. I don't want them coming back with a $50 million project because that's not going to happen. I don't want to come up with a number. 11, 12, whatever. I don't think it matters that much between 11 and 12, but 11 to 50 is a big jump.
There's a big difference, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just like, if $12 million has everything we want and the majority of the town will be happy, I'm fine with that. Throwing that out to a referendum at some point, if that's what we decide. But, I don't want to come back with plans that are just over the top crazy, but we want to have nice pools. We want to have, maybe we can get splash pads. Like, I don't want to leave that as a definitely not, or definitely we do need. So I do think what was said before is a little too focused, but I mean, it's a great start. I definitely think it's a great start, so.
Okay, I agree. Anything? Yes,
I have a question.
Yeah.
So if we're concerned, if people want to know what the condition of our current pools are, wouldn't that be our starting block before we even go out to an RFP? Because going out with the RFP is putting the cart before the horse.
Oh,
If we
okay.
don't know the condition of our pools, and then if we don't know where the location would either be at Churchill or Mill, this RFP is really worthless. I think we need to decide based upon, are the pools, can they be reconditioned, can they whatever? And then if we feel that the 2012 borings or whenever those borings were done have changed over time because topography changes, that all changes. So those, what they did probably changed as well. So I think we have to take, like we're starting brand new. We know nothing is out there. And we've never looked at this before, and let's.
So you're
start
saying
from A.
instead of doing an RFP, first we like engage a contractor to just give us, the life
And we have-
expectancy of Churchill is X.
Remember the report,
The Owens report.
the Owens report?
that one.
Was there anything, there was stuff
Yeah,
in there
the pools are
about
in
the
there.
pools.
I-
That might be something
Yeah.
that, take that excerpt from that report and distribute it amongst us, so we can all look at what that report says. I
Okay.
know the report is what, oh God, 20 years old, but
Yeah,
still.
It's a few years old, but.
And I'm sure the pools have deteriorated since then, but that will give us a good sense of.
So I think it's a
condition
starting
they're in.
point. I mean, if, I want, I mean, if this were my house, I wouldn't decide to say, oh, my house needs a new roof, so I'm gonna rip the house down and build a new house. I'd want to see how much it costs to fix my roof. And that's how I would proceed. And I think that's how we should proceed here. If someone could come in and say, okay, Churchill Park, Churchill Pool needs this, and this, and it would cost me, $5 million to fix it.
Right.
Well, I'm gonna say, well, hey, $5 million, I'm gonna rip my house down and build a new house because it's cheaper to build a new house than build a new roof. But if it's cheaper to fix it, then it's cheaper to fix it and maybe add on to it or whatever. But
Right, I mean.
I need to know
Show
that.
transparency
And the people need to
to
know that.
residents.
So I'm just, I feel like I'm getting mixed signals though. So if we're gonna start completely fresh, right off the bat, all of these don't matter. So whatever happened in 2012 doesn't matter, what happened in 2021 doesn't matter, we're just starting fresh.
I thought that was the charge.
But then it also sounds like we wanna bring in the
The
old
ch- was
people too.
starting- Wasn't the charge
Yeah,
starting
so-
fresh?
So I think maybe we should establish this as a committee. Are we gonna start completely fresh and ignore everything that's happened in the past? Or do you wanna piecemeal some things that we've done from the past? That's,
I think the borings need to be redone. I think.
cause I'm down to just start completely fresh, but then we don't need any of this.
Right.
You know,
Well, I
don't
think,
need any of
I
that. One or the
think,
other.
I think we tried to do it, I think the committee tried to do it quick and dirty, and it didn't work. I think the public didn't go for it. I think if we keep going down that road, I think, and if the goal is to bring this to the referendum in 2026, we have time.
Right, I mean.
I'd rather do it right.
And we're showing the town and the taxpayers that, we're taking what they're thinking about, and that we are doing full research. We're doing our due diligence.
Somewhere in those pool reports, because I know I read it, was something about the structure of the concrete in the pools and all of that.
Yes,
There
there
was some data there about how bad it looked, but I would guess that it should be redone because if that was in 2012 and it was crappy then, I can't imagine what it's like
And I know
now.
the Owens
So,
report
yeah,
was done before COVID, right?
Yeah.
I think
It was
just around
20
COVID. I think it was-
2019, yeah.
I remember looking at it,
2019,
we were in my
Yeah.
basement.
So,
so So
Yeah,
my
so-
guess would be then what our step one should be is to hire somebody to find out, do a study and tell us what the conditions of both pools are. I'll be flat out honest with you. I think we should look at both pools, but to even think about replacing both pools is Not gonna happen. That's just
I
off the
think we
table
need
right now.
to offer phases.
Yeah.
Which one is
Yeah.
in much more need? They're both
Yes.
probably pretty close, but
Mhm.
whichever one is in need, I think we're going to, I think it would be a good idea to have phase one pool, phase two, try to have a long-term plan.
Yes.
Strategic plan.
Yes.
Yes, for both pools. And, you know, looking back at the last referendum, you know, there's a lot of, someone thinks, so it might be the placement of where it was or the cost. I think a lot of also what had to do with it was all of these old plans that people were bringing up from 2012, when I thought there was new borings done and new information, but that old information kept coming out. And if we're gonna start from fresh, and I think we need to start from fresh and get professional information from experts now to move forward and not look back at 2012. We need to move forward from the information we get now. So,
Right, I mean, basically, these are our two parks, the Mill Pond Park and the Churchill Park in its entirety. Look at it, you come in, you tell us where the best place to put the pool is. And maybe it is the soccer fields off of Willard, I
Right.
don't
But
know.
before we come with conceptual plans, we need to know where, A, the current condition of our pools, and then B, where's the best place to put the pool?
But
Pools.
is a person who would evaluate the condition of our pools the same guy that's gonna tell us where to put them? No, the guy that's gonna tell us where to put them is the RFP guy based on that information,
But
right?
not with conceptual plans.
The RFP, the guy from the RFP, anybody responding to that is gonna be a rough concept.
Well,
For the
but
hydro, we need to get the mooring stuff.
Right, so,
Okay, so my thoughts here. Okay, so I mean, we can certainly get the Owens report. That's easily distributed. You know, and as far as, you know, having a pool contractor come in and tell us, you know, what kind of depends on what level of analysis you want done. I mean, you know, the person who fixes, you know, that Bill, you know, consults with to do pool patches and stuff can probably do that. He probably does it in some way or another informally to Bill every 6 months. But
Put
is
the
that what you
camera down
want?
the Pipes and stuff and looked at this, you know, this, how the pipes look underneath. They put the little camera down there and everything. We've seen pictures of that, but
Oh, okay, but
yes,
so you want a written report from a pool contractor about everything soup to nuts about the conditions of the pools? And then you want a new hydrogeological study of everywhere, you know, reasonably everywhere in Mill Pond Park and Churchill Park. Is that what I'm hearing?
Maybe after we find out the conditions, maybe we can then, by that time, the ground will be decent outside, we can.
Okay, so
Site
we first focus on the conditions of the existing pools. So I suspect we can do that for under $30,000, and that's the threshold for when we have to do an RFP.
Yep.
But I can certainly reach out to Bill, and we can put our heads together and try to come back with a proposal for the next meeting about what it would cost and what it would entail, and I'll get the Owens report out as well.
I just want to show the taxpayers and the residents that we are doing our due diligence and we're taking all their comments seriously. And we want the best project for this town.
can you send us a copy, email us a copy of the Owens report before our next meeting? so
Of course,
we have time to
yep,
read it?
yep.
That would be great. Okay. So step one is gonna be to find out the conditions of the pool, and after that, step two would be new borings. Is that, am I on the right page?
I mean, I think we're gonna have to identify locations that we want them to do the borings.
right,
But we don't want to, yeah, we don't want to board my backyard. so I'm
Well, they're not
pool in
gonna
my
like
backyard,
run around where the playscape is or anything like that.
No,
That's
but I
not
think
gonna
we should
happen.
identify
Well-
different areas in the parks that could possibly.
Don't they just get like a holistic overview of the entire water table? by like strategically boring
Do an
in
actual
locations.
borings.
Yeah.
Actually,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't, wasn't.
But I don't think
we
they have to do the whole park to
No,
get
we
an idea.
identified locations.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
At Mill,
I'm-
yeah.
We're saying the same thing. I'm just saying, like, I don't think we have to tell them specifically. They will go and they will map it out for us to the
Yeah,
entire
I
walk.
think they would know.
Right,
But I mean, his point, I mean, we could get to where the playscape is. I mean, if we move the soccer, if the playscape is the best place to put it, we just move the playscape. It's part of the project. If
We're
that's
talking Churchill or Mill?
Mill Pond, if we put
Okay.
it with Mill Pond, move the playscape and if that's where it goes, we move the soccer field, move the playscape. That's just where it goes. That's where it goes. I mean, it's anything. We have to look at the whole ball of wax. You have to kind of look at everything, I think.
right, you know, but also, you know, it's X number of dollars per bore, right?
Exactly.
So you can't just say, you know, I need borings of everything on the park. So I think condition of the pool, maybe have somebody come in and look at the park area and just say, you know, the sliver between the soccer field and the sidewalk, that's a definite no.
Yeah, right,
It's
yeah.
just stupid, right? So we shouldn't put a pool there, right? So then I think it would be condition of the old pools, maybe a concept of what an architect would come back with and say, you know what, this based on usability and everything, this is the best place to build it. You know, and like I said, maybe it's Churchill, and Churchill, the only thing at Churchill becomes a pool. Right? Look at that whole thing. I mean, you know, if the gazebo goes away and you gotta move the pond, so, but then they could.
It's been done.
The pond's been done. As long as we keep our wetlands, if you trade wetlands for wetlands, I guess we're okay, right?
But you could move the softball field
Right.
and move the softball field to Mill. You usually do that.
Hey, man, they used to swim in that pond.
Yeah, they did.
I swam in Mill Pond recently, and it
Ew,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
there's a big old turtle in there.
Yeah,
He's
My
scary.
goldfish, I put them in.
It was ugly. But the mosquitoes didn't bother me for the rest of the evening. Even the mosquitoes are going,
Keep away from him.
So I think it's pretty safe to say that the borings at Churchill are gonna be far drier than the borings at Mill.
We don't.
I know we
I mean, I don't know. I don't,
But I would just guess from,
I've never done a boring, so I don't know
no,
what.
but I would just guess from being in the parks all summer. There's standing water all the time at Mill. There's not standing water at Churchill. I don't remember ever seeing any standing water at Churchill. But we can look at
But there may
that.
be other problems at Churchill. There may be, you know, a
Wrong
rock
kind of
ledge
soil, yeah.
that far down underground.
Yeah, could
you
be
know,
wrong kind of soil.
Yeah.
Could be that, you know,
Indian burial ground.
Yeah, it could be.
no, but you know, perhaps it has to stay where it is and we just blow it up and start a new one over there. Perhaps it can, I don't know. All right, so I would not suggest throwing away this RFP. I think there's a lot of good stuff in
Yeah.
there.
Well,
I
we
think
can
it could
find
be enhanced by including Churchill in there, in a few more places. Is there anything else that anybody wants to see added into that?
Well, wait, I mean,
don't know.
I thought we're not doing anything with RFP right now.
Correct.
We're
but
gonna
I just
come
don't
back
want you-
with-
We just don't want to, we don't
We don't
want to
want
throw it away.
to. Okay.
Yeah.
Work in
okay.
progress.
Yes, I think that is, if we just add some Churchill questions in there, you know, Churchill statements about looking for that, that would be okay. Is there anything else we need to talk about? That we
I
need
have
to add
a
in?
question.
Yes,
Just, I know it, these dates on the first page, it's like a month in between we post it and then it's due. Is that normal, like a month?
Yeah, that's, yeah, I mean,
It
obviously
seems
it's,
quick,
you know, I mean, for firms that specialize in this stuff, they respond to these RFPs all the time, so that a
So
lot
like
of
a
it.
month turnaround is normal.
Yeah.
Okay,
Mhm.
so that's good to know. The other thing is if do we have to vote on anything as a board to like say we want to do what Jonathan wants us to do?
we're not allowed to vote today because it's a
So
special
not
meeting.
on the RFP, on like, doing the borings or something like. We have to
Yeah.
make any
Yeah.
motion.
We
Yeah,
can't do
because
this special
we,
meeting.
it's technically a special meeting. all these rules in Newington, I'm
Yeah.
just learning as I go. But technically you need 30 days of notice after you pass a motion about establishing regular meeting dates before you can have a regular meeting. So we're having this meeting as a special meeting, which means we can only take action on items before a committee.
Okay,
But I think, I mean, as far as
We're
the
just
marching
consensus.
orders for me are simply to send out the Owens report, meet with Bill and come up with, get a proposal from his pool contractor about doing a soup to nuts kind of condition evaluation
and then bring
That's
that
pretty
back
clear.
to us. for the-
and have it back.
one of the
Yeah,
next
that's
meetings. Okay.
pretty clear.
Okay, sounds fair. All right. Any other questions or comments? Okay, public participation.
Good evening, Scott Kraskowski, 46 Miami Avenue. Talking about the borings, I understand everybody's feeling on the borings, and in reality, the borings should have not really changed. Maybe if we do order borings or order one or two in the same spot we did before to see if anything's changed, but we haven't had any icebergs come and melt in the property. There's been no changes. So the boring should really be pretty much the same from 2013 to now. Mr. Parati, I love your idea about the soccer fields. It's a great place for it. Have parking. The parking problems that we have are eliminated by that. But I do hope that this time when we get these RFPs, we go through aquatics architects and not landscape architects. So that way we have people who do know about the pools coming in. And but again, getting back to the borings, the reason they didn't do any more borings near the existing pool, and this is my recollection, which could be wrong, but they didn't do them because the borings don't really change. So they didn't do any by the old pool. They did them in the fields trying to figure out different places to go. So to save money, you may want to just do one or two just to see if the conditions change, but I don't think you need to redo them all. That's it. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, everybody.
Hi.
Hey,
Matt Braddock, 69 Autobahn. Got a couple similar ideas, so I figured I'd just piggyback right off that. Obviously, one of the major issues with the referendum in November was the budget. So hearing people talking about wanting to represent the taxpayers and then also saying we can redo all the research we've already done for $30,000 isn't feeling like it's going to really represent the taxpayers that had an issue with the budget in November. So maybe when we do a little bit of new research on the condition of the pools, hopefully those people could also maybe look at some of the past research and say what is still up to date and what needs to be redone. If we could just take a frugal stance at what we're keeping and what we're choosing to restart with, I feel like that would represent most of what the people are looking for. I'm only one person, so I'm only speaking for myself when I say that. Obviously, the members of the community or committee are only one person themselves. So hearing people kind of speculate back and forth on it might have been the budget, it might have been the Garfield, it might have been the this, it might have been the lack of Churchill. Like I said at our last meeting, I think you would behoove yourselves to ask the people why they voted for what they voted for in November. I know nobody's talked to me yet about why I chose to vote for what I chose to vote for. So rather than speculating on what the community thinks, any sort of survey or outreach or research that could be done on why people actually voted for what they voted for and what people are looking to get out of the project, I think would help you create a project that would be more successful moving forward. Thank you for proposing changes to the RFP to work the word Churchill into it more frequently and look at a more holistic view of what we're looking at here. I think that obviously that is a really important part of the whole project and, just keeping the options open rather than consolidating back to what we were before. I like how we're looking at more of a broader view. In this meeting, it seemed like last month we were kind of going straight back to where we left off, but people seem to be taking a fresher stance here, which I support. So thank you for that. And hopefully we can keep progress moving forward.
Thank you.
okay. Thanks.
Eileen, there's 3 people or actually 4 people now that have their hands up on Zoom. Would you like me to take those?
Sure.
Okay. Ms. Havens, I'm going to unmute you. Okay.
Hello, Dana Havens, 113 Stoddard Avenue. Um, if you don't want to see the original aquatic engineers come to discuss their findings, then I really think it's very important that you have that, if you don't have them, that you have another aquatic engineering firm come in to once again study the feasibility of building a new pool in the current location, and not to use the same architect that we already had, that Bill and he have been working years on this plan that they tried to get past this last time. So nobody's going to trust that. If you're going to check the soccer fields, the water tables, I would imagine that there's already been borings done there that you could refer to from when they wanted to build the community center there. I'm not a geologist, but from what I remember from earth science, and like Scott said, Les Iceberg traveled down Connecticut River and through the streams and ends up in Mill Pond, at the water levels in the park aren't going to be changing. Determining the best place to place the pool will depend on the size and depth. It seemed to me PNR wanted a significantly larger and deeper pool at Mill. That probably won't work at the current location, but maybe that bigger pool should go at Churchill. And that's why I'm so happy to hear that you are now going to be looking at both parks. And just as an aside, but thinking that adding parking where the buses are now is solving the issue of having to travel to the pools, that parking lot is even further from both pools. So that's not a solution to the parking issue that people were complaining about, in my mind. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Havens?
That was Dana.
That was Dana.
No, I'm saying Ms. Havens is,
Yes.
Gotcha.
no, I'm gonna mute you, Dana, and I'm gonna.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, sorry. Rose, can you hear us? Let me try one more time.
She's got to hit star
Yeah, she's
six.
gonna hit star six.
Hey, Rose?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, yep, loud and clear.
Hello.
Okay, Rose Lyons, 46 Elton Drive. I know Dana Havens and I go at it back and forth about different things, but I just want to set the record straight. I have no interest in the borings. It's Mrs. Havens, not Mrs. Lyons, that is questioning the borings. I think that Eileen mentioned my name rather than hers. I'm glad to hear the conversation around the table tonight about both parks, how you come to a conclusion as to where you want to put the pools or pool or whatever. That's all up to you. But having watched the first pool committee, having watched the town council go back and forth, I don't want to go through the whole history of it. You all heard me say it too many times. It's refreshing to hear that you're going to start fresh and look at whatever needs to be looked at to come up with some sort of a conclusion. Scott, Dana, and Matt have all said basically what I've been thinking. Matt lives on Audubon Avenue, and he had mentioned to me that he had tried to get onto the committee. If there's ever another opening on either party, I would suggest that perhaps you consider him to be a member of the committee, given the fact that he lives in the area, has an interest in the area, and I think he's not objecting to the pool. He wants to know more about how you're going to come about it. It's the quality of life right now in that area, and I don't care what anybody says. When they bought their houses, yes, there was a park there, but it was a passive recreation. It wasn't the events that are being held now. As far as what you're going to do with what the Department of the Board of Education or the Town Council is going to do with the library or with the parking lot where the buses are, take it out of the equation. What the library is going to do, take it out of the equation. That connectivity or community connectivity grant has been here, I think, like the town manager said, since 2018, and hopefully this year it's going to be used and get done what needs to be done. That shouldn't be part of the equation either. Let's just go forward and see what's best for the town, and I really believe that the residents, maybe you can just have a meeting where people are invited to come and voice their opinions as to why they voted for or against the pool project. Let's stop guessing at it. There's so many different people had different ideas as to why they didn't want it. Let them be heard or keep silent on it till the next referendum. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Rose.
There's,
Yeah.
somebody named Galaxy S10. I think that's the name of your phone.
It could be somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah. From outer space.
It's Colleen Kelly, 20 Harold Drive. I'm sorry about that.
No worries.
So pretty much everyone is saying what I wanted to say, but I did want to thank you for the open mind. I did want to thank you for adding Churchill. A couple of things or thoughts that I had is if there's maintenance done on the pools today, we should have some kind of report. And I don't know for a fact, but there must be something if we've got a maintenance on these pools to look at now. A couple of things that I remember of complaints, definitely the parking, but we didn't bring up the handicap piece of it as well. So there's, lack of handicap parking, the busy street. Somebody had mentioned, the OFI building and parking, and it's just, I think we're just throwing things out at the last time, the last referendum. So I do appreciate what you're doing and trying to start fresh. And I agree with Rose to see if Matt, who is a resident there who lives nearby, he could definitely get people that live around there to help with, their concerns, to voice their concerns. There's a conduit there to help, this committee with concerns that they have, because I know they were talking about the noise and the busy street, etc. I think that's all I had, other than I like the survey idea as well, but that could be just getting the community together, the residents around there together. So thank you. Galaxy S10 out.
Thank you. And then lastly, there's Richie from Connecticut.
That was really funny with the Galaxy. Okay, as to the handicap parking, if you move the Churchill pool about 30 feet southbound, you can have more than enough parking on both sides and walking spaces. Anyway, we really need to consider the Churchill as the primary pool project. Okay, the people in this town have voted, I think, twice. They voted twice that they didn't want this. All right,
Once.
Once.
Just
all right.
once.
Oh, well, whatever. Well, let's not have it be twice then. All right. It's a significant environmental impact on the crown jewel of our town if we're to have a major digging project that's in protected wetlands. Let's just do it in Churchill, move the project 30 feet away from the dump, okay? And you can have a nice little roundabout driveway. It'll be perfect for in the event that any children are there. You can put your splash pad there. It'll be way cheaper than having two pool projects. Let's make a really nice one at Churchill. Let's make a really nice one at Churchill. And hey, 3 years, 4 years, let's sunset Churchill. It's done well. We love it. We all remember it. I remember it from when I was in high school. But let's make a perfect project at Churchill and let's sunset. let's sunset Mill Pond. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Anybody else left online?
Nobody's left online. No.
Okay, come on.
Bill McCarthy, 206 Churchill Drive. I'm glad for all the public participation this evening. It's great. I love hearing Matt talk. It was very informational during the first pool committee that I attended. I asked, when I was leaving for the meeting this evening from my home, I asked my wife one simple question: do you have anything that you want to do about the pools? And the only thing that she said was, as long as it doesn't raise my taxes. That was the nutshell. But you guys are doing a great job. I'm a little curious about the $30,000 to get an appraisal of what we have right now. I don't know if that's possible.
Yeah, no, I just, the 30,000, well, I can comment later, but the 30,000 is just the threshold for the cost threshold for when we have to go to RFP.
Oh, okay.
I wasn't implying that it would cost that. I just, like, if we have to do a deep dive, you know, and really get into all the piping, I just don't know what that would involve. So,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. I think you guys are doing a great job. Good open dialogue, and I appreciate everything you're doing. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Welcome.
Hi. Hi, I'm Laura McAuliffe, 17 Henry Avenue. It's my first time coming in here. I just wanted to say that tonight, I've been watching online, but tonight I felt better being here with everybody saying they want to do a fresh start, because that's what they need. It just seemed like last scenario was just pushed and it was all predetermined what was going to happen. I like the fresh start. I like the idea that we are going to do an assessment first on what we actually have before we start looking to see what we can do. So it's a good start. And I think with this, you are going to gain the trust of the community, because last time there was no trust there. And it just seemed there were dealings behind the scenes that was just going to be put on the taxpayers. So I think if you have the backup, what you're going to do, present it to the community, I think they will vote it. It'd be better if they even had a couple options. So, but thank you.
Okay, thanks so much for coming.
Everything you do.
Anybody else? Okay, let's start on this side. Comments by committee members. AJ?
Productive night, I think.
Yeah.
Other than that, like, obviously you want to keep costs down, as far as starting fresh, but that's a whole ask when starting fresh. So we'll just have to do our best to not get anything that we don't absolutely need.
Yeah, no, I think we need to start fresh. It's kind of what I said earlier with Churchill and thinking more of that. Just, I'll be interesting to see what, we get for reports on the concrete, and if there is a mentioned maintenance reports or anything like that, if we could get something along those lines, because I know the pipes are bad or something, but I don't know.
Yes.
I haven't seen anything other than hearing it.
Yeah.
So if there's like maintenance reports or something, it'd be nice to send to the committee.
Agreed. I know they're out there. We see them. Go ahead.
Yeah, I feel a lot better after this meeting than our last meeting, feel more focused. It is the best thing to review both pools and come up with a larger plan, find out which one is in more dire needs, a more dire situation than the other. And as far as savings money, using the older borings or whatever information may be out there, I think we need to, like I said earlier, just get fresh information from experts, so there's not going back and forth. I think the last time there was a lot of misinformation or questioning what was being said or put out there. A lot of people felt it was predetermined. Yes, I think this way will alleviate that whole situation. And if how would we go about doing a survey of what people want moving forward, and or why they voted the way they did at the last one?
Well, I mean, we have software for that would allow us to do surveys. But this was what the survey that was envisioned here would be done by the contractor as the third party. I feel like that might be something that's best, I'm just spitballing, might be something best handled by a third party, just because rather than us, like, sounds like we're putting our fingers on the scale if we do a survey about something like that.
The other thing I would think too is that, everyone is invited to attend these meetings. So if they have something to say, they're more than welcome to come and say it. I guess, maybe we could do some sort of job of advertising our meetings and putting them out there a little clearer and welcoming people to come to participate in the process. I think that would help some. Go ahead, Carol.
Oh, no, I'm all in favor for sure. I think we need to show, the taxpayers that we do care about what they say, and how their money is being spent. And I'm very sure that Bill does have maintenance reports and the old reports, and based off the Owens, maybe that's the one that could give us a report of an updated. So basically an updated, because I'm sure the pools have not improved. They've probably gotten a little bit worse over time. So, and then we can go from there. We can decide how we're going to proceed, but I think we just need to start fresh.
Go ahead.
Ditto.
That's easy.
Yeah, I think, first thing, we haven't spent any money yet. So the Matt's thing, we haven't spent any money yet. We'll get the reports and see how much the review of what we have currently is going to cost us. And so we haven't spent a dime yet. And we really can't, we have to find out where the money comes from. We don't have a checkbook. I can't open a checkbook and just write a check. We have to figure out where the money comes from. And that's going to be problematic at some point. I think a survey might be a good thing, but it's down the road, I think, at some point. My fear in this climate is that the surveys are really, really good, but if, like everything else in this project, becomes political, and then, we're going to get all kinds of Facebook things and all kinds of groups that say, quick, fill out the survey 4 or 5 times because we want to get this point of view across, this point of view across. And I'm not sure that's gonna be a true survey unless we, just tap in and stop people at the street as they go into Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts or the community room and say, give me your true answer. I think coming to these meetings is really important because this is where it's going to happen. But if we get to the point where we're going to kind of do a major focus where we're going to move pools from Mill to Churchill or Churchill to Mill, or from soccer fields to playgrounds or whatever, then that's a point where we're gonna have to do a survey. What do you think? What do the public think? And that's where we're gonna have to then, get some kind of a public input. Because regardless, at some point, we're gonna have to get the public's buy-in, because this is the, and I like to say to Mr. McCarthy that we can, satisfy your wife and not raise people's taxes, but that ain't gonna happen. Because if whatever we're gonna do with the pools is gonna cost people some money in their taxes. Because there's, again, unless any of us up here want to write a check for $11 million. No takers. Nobody wants to write a check so we're gonna have to get the money from someplace.
I'll write a check for
It's just gonna bounce down the road.
So it's gonna come from someplace and it's gonna raise your taxes. There's no question about it's gonna raise your taxes. And on top of other projects, they're gonna raise your taxes. The council's gonna hear one tomorrow, and there's gonna be Firehouse that's gonna raise your taxes, and there are all kinds of other projects that are gonna raise your taxes. So I'd like to be able to promise that we're not gonna raise your taxes. So you can go home and tell your wife that I'm gonna raise your taxes. The pool's gonna raise your taxes, but hopefully not by a whole lot, just by a little bit.
Rest assured, there
But we'll
is
do-
grant money out there that, we will do our best to grab onto and not have to spend the whole $11 million or whatever the total should come to pass. But there's grant money available, and we will try our best. Be sure to tell her that.
But even if we spend $1 million, it's gonna raise your taxes.
Yes, yes. Go ahead.
Quick question. They did a survey, how many years ago? Remember the town did a survey?
Oh, yeah, community engagement survey, yeah.
Yep.
Can you just extract what they said about the pool?
Yes.
They wanted one
Yeah,
badly.
Yeah,
I
it's
want
like-
to see what the
That
overall.
was a
comments
big request on there,
are.
was a
It's
pool.
huge.
Yep.
I just want to bring that to the attention that there was a survey done, not for the referendum, but what the town was looking for. And amenities. So.
When that survey was done?
I think like 2022, I want to say.
It was pretty
Yeah.
recent.
Yep.
It was when-
Here after the survey.
I understand that, but
Yeah.
yeah, no, I mean, it was pretty compared to 2012. It wasn't done in 12.
Yeah.
Yours.
Well, welcome.
Yeah.
I gladly have my tax raised for the pool and schools.
Mhm.
We like you. You can stay.
You know, you can do
Okay.
amenities and your property values go up too.
That's right.
All right, we're good.
The balancing act.
The only thing I would like to say is to tell your friends, tell your neighbors, come on over, give us their 2 cents. They have 3 minutes or 4 minutes or how many minutes? 3 minutes to say what they need to say, and we would be happy to listen. We are trying our best to start from the ground up, have a new look at this, start fresh, and come up with a decision that makes the most people happy. Obviously, not everybody's gonna be happy with what we do, but we're gonna try our best to make the best decision for the most people in town. Anything else?
So our next meeting is the 24th of May.
Correct, yeah, yep.
24th.
Fourth Monday.
24th of March. Okay. All right, motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All righty. Thank you, guys.
All right.
Here, Bill.
That was good. I feel like we had something. Four,
As many as 7 at some point.
well,
Yeah.
four that want to talk.
But it's on,
Yeah.
Yeah, if some turn in, they'll turn in tomorrow and see the meeting
yes,
too.
it's on.
Yeah, people watch, like I started that.
Oh,
Because I
okay.
wasn't.
Oh, keep coming. We'd love to hear from you.